Bali Business Club podcast. We're here with Omri, Ben-Canaan.
Hi, Gawain. Hi, everyone.
Nice to see everybody. And we're talking about extensions today. Not property or construction, extensions specifically on lease and how to best negotiate your lease agreement when buying a property in Bali. Omri, obviously our 15-year Bali property expert and been living here for 30 years. So he has all the expert answers and insights.
I've had my fair share of mistakes in the early days of extensions, so I know what I'm talking about here. Okay, hi everyone again. So yeah, today we're going to talk about extension, specifically about leasehold. In Bahasa we say
Leasehold.
Hak sewa, okay. So leasehold, again, for those who don't know, but I'm sure everyone knows. So leasehold is the act of renting a land or a property, a villa, or whatever, an office space, a restaurant, whatever, for a certain amount of years. It's not a yearly payment, like you could rent your apartment back in France or South Africa or anywhere on a yearly basis or monthly basis. It's you give a chunk of money to the landlord or to whoever owns the master lease contract, and that chunk of money is equivalent to the rent multiplied by so many years. You know? Mm-hmm. So usually it's like 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, some big amount of years like that. There's no specific number. It can be any number. It can be 15 years, it can be 10 years, whatever. Yeah? Like this office, we rented for 10 years, for instance.
Yeah. But about...
Big regret.
Like you don't want to extend it.
Yeah, it doesn't want to extend.
No extension.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So how does it work? So basically, so you have today. This is today. Yeah, today, and then you have the period of the lease, which is so many years. So let's put years here. Okay, n years, and then you have the extension, the potential extension that goes beyond that lease period, okay? Now, that extension period is always negotiated here before you sign the deal. Because once you are in the deal, let's say you rent a land and the owner rents you the land and then you build a magnificent palace, castle on it. Then, of course, when you go see the owner of the land and you want to negotiate the extension, I mean, the guy is
going to want a palace.
He's going to want a palace extension, not a land extension. So always negotiate your land here, your extension here, and always negotiate the best extension possible that serves your interest. So this is what we are talking about today. Okay.
But you don't need to take this extension. It's optional for you.
Absolutely. You don't have to. Some of the lands that I have, that we have, that I have, and that we have with the fund, for instance, with the Kenungo fund, we don't have an extension because the owners didn't want to give us the extension. And we look at it and say, okay, it's still a good deal, so we still take the land. It really depends.
But then I presume without extension, it's probably quite a long lease then. Or it's all negotiable. Doesn't really. There's no precedent.
There's no rule.
Yeah.
There's no rule. There's no rule.
And out of how many all the property transactions in Bali, what percentage is leasehold compared to freehold, more or less?
So it's more or less 20-80. 20% freehold versus 80% leasehold.
So vast majority is leasehold.
And that number we know from yesterday.
Yes.
we met some guys that gave us that number.
Actually, possibly a future podcast, guys who run like data analytics on buying, selling prices, regional, what's happening, rental market, everything. So quite interesting.
Great guys and very interesting data. It's called REID, R-E-I-D.
We'll put the link in the description, actually. Yeah. Interesting to look at.
So basically, this is the theory, yeah? So now I want to talk about... Here.
Maybe just give us some context, like, so first-time property buyer would go to an agent, I presume, and then they would...
Very interesting. That's the key word, agent. Agents don't care. Most agents don't care. I mean, the good ones care, but the bad ones, a lot of bad ones, don't care about you having the best deal on extension. Why? Because agents make their money here. They don't make money on potential extension. So if you have a, let's say, I don't know, 200,000, 2 billion rupiah deal here, so 2M, and this is worth something else, they will make a 5% commission on this amount, not on money, on a hypothetical money in the future. So what agent will do, they will make this as easy for them to manage within the scope of that deal, which means like they will not fight for it. They don't want to lose the deal, agents.
Actually, they don't want it at all because it's an obstacle to
It's
closing.
totally an obstacle.
Yeah.
Totally an obstacle. So don't trust your agent on this. Impose your rules, yeah? Okay, so what does everyone do? Everyone does market price extension. This is the very, very common extension scheme there is out there. What does that mean? Market price extension means like, okay, you rent your property for so many years, 20, 25, 30 years. And then you have like let's say a 10-year extension based on market price. So that means at some point within your lease period, let's change color, around the year, for instance, you're gonna go see your owner and you're gonna say, hey, I want to take that extension that we mentioned in the contract, and I would like to pay it now, so I can market this, I can put this house or whatever on the market for future buyer. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So your owner, the owner of your landlord, is not stupid. Yeah. Market price. So first of all, when you have a market price extension, you have zero guarantee that you will get an extension. It's not because it's written market price that it means it's okay to give it to you. Yeah. So you have zero guarantee. So it's really at the discretion of the owner to say yes or no. Okay. And then if he says, so it means if you guys don't agree on the price,
it doesn't happen.
It's not going to happen, right? So market price basically is defined by you take 3 agencies, okay, 3 real estate agencies. You ask for an appraisal of that specific land by 3 different agencies, and the average or the median price is decided as being the price that is used for the extension.
But then, the property owner would be forced to accept that price, which then would mean that it would go through, no? Unless there's a right for rejection.
Usually, the very, very common scheme is that you have a priority on extension. Which means the only right you have is to, basically, the property owner has to give it to you at least at the same price or lower than any person that would take it if you would say no.
Third party, yeah.
Yes. So it's right of first refusal, basically. Yeah. So that's no good. Don't do that. Everyone does that. No one knows. They don't understand that they are making a huge mistake. You know.
Why is it a huge mistake?
Because then it's a hostage situation. They have no control or no power whatsoever on what's happening here, because it's all up to the landlord. You know? And we know these guys, how they can be hard
also
sometimes.
With Bali property prices escalating so much, you would rather not leave it up to market price and rather fixed escalation or percentage over.
If you leave it up to market price, you should take yourself in the foot. Yeah. So this is what everyone does. Now I'm going to try to teach you guys here something that it's a little bit better than that, yeah, that I've been doing for a long time. Okay, so this is what I do. Okay. Let's take an example of a land. Let's take, we acquire this land at 10 million rupiah per ara per year. Okay? What I do is I ask for an extension, usually around 5 to 10 years. Okay, at a fixed price, of original price, so 10 million plus 30%, more or less, of course. This is more or less. It can be 20%, can be 15 years. I mean, it's just to make you understand the idea. Yeah. So in that case, I would be 13 million per ara per year. Okay? And now the deciding factor is that I always say to the owner, I say, okay, this is what I want, okay? And if you say just that, they will say, no way, because they know in 20 years the price is going to be like, off the charts, so this doesn't make sense. But I say, look, I'm gonna ask this from you. However, the validity of this option is only 5 years. So again, this is an example. It can be 3 years, it can be 10 years, it can be whatever, yeah? So basically, just to sum up, I take a land for so many years, let's say 30 years, okay? And then I ask for an extension of, let's say 5 years or 10 years at 13 million rupiah per ara per year, so around 30% more than the original price. And I say to the owner, okay, give that to me. However, if I don't buy that extension option within the next 5 years, then we go back to a new negotiation. Then it's market price and your usual BS scheme. Yeah. Okay. And believe me or not, but in let's say 70% of the cases that on the land that I deal with, that works. 70 to 80%. So most of the land we have in the fund, for example, have this scheme. So now what's important, let's look at those numbers, yeah? So you're going to tell me, okay, why don't you say 15 years or 20 years? Because that's pure greediness, my friend. The thing is...
Need a balance, otherwise the deal will just won't
It's a negotiation between two human beings, okay?
Sure.
And a lot of buyers feel like they have the money, so they have the power. They don't.
Not in this market.
Not in this market, not in this country, yeah? The landowners have the power. Yeah. Because the offer and the demand are not equal. Yeah,
it's a seller's market.
Absolutely, it's a seller's market. Yeah. So if you say something, and because it's human being, there's egos involved. Yeah. If you say something that doesn't make sense, people are going to start to close off, especially local landowners who are not business people. They're going to start to close themselves, retrieve in a corner. And then you're going to end up with a worse deal than you could have had. Yeah? So it's always better, in my opinion, from years of experience dealing with landowners here, it doesn't make sense to make an offer that doesn't make sense. You know? It doesn't make sense to make an offer that you will refuse yourself. Okay?
Well, it just sets the tone for negativity and immediate refusal.
Absolutely. So this is more, so what my technique is I nego the price. I don't talk about that. Okay, they tell me okay, the price is 10 million. I'm okay, I'm 8 million. Yeah? And but I know it doesn't matter. Once they say okay, the price is fixed, and I let them win on this, I say yes, but I want that. Okay,
the tag on.
In their mind, that's they feel they are selling an extra 5 years for 13 million. So they feel, psychologically, they are making a good deal. Okay? When they actually don't know that the price is going to rise much more in a few years, but it is what it is. And as long as everyone has signed off on it, it's fine, yeah?
And everybody's happy with this. I mean, the seller's happy, you're happy.
Exactly. Okay? So, and the reason I do 5 years always because I never keep a land or a property more than 5 years because this is my turnover, in my system where I buy in emerging markets, blah, 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 yeah? So that way, when let's say I have 30 years to start with, yeah? When it's time for me to liquidate in like 4 years, 4.5 years, something like that, then I just buy that extension and I'm back on 30 years. So the only thing I lost is 4 years at this price. But then when I sell, the price is not 10 million, it's like 40 million.
So it's almost a brand new term of 30 years when you sell.
I mean, the money you've lost is negligible. It's not relevant compared to the money you're making, except you're making a not free, but like almost free 5-year extension, at the time of the sale. Because that price, when you sell your plot or your house, whatever, it's nothing. It's really nothing.
Wow, genius.
Well, I don't know if it's genius, man, but
I don't know.
Genius would be better than that. But that has worked for me. It works for me. It has worked for me for many years. I've been doing that for a long time. I feel that it's also respectful to them, okay? Because you're not trying to squeeze them as much as you can, you know. I like to not nego that much on the price. You know, it's like in a negotiation, in a business negotiation of sorts, you know. You give something, you take something, it goes both ways, you know. And you want to have, what you don't want is to be on a land with an unhappy landowner. You want to have a happy landowner, happy neighbors, really. And so on and so forth. Yeah. So I feel it's important to find a compromise that suits everyone, you know, that works for everyone. So for me, that has worked. On every single deal that I make, I'm trying to get this. Sometimes I don't. There's a land, for example, in the fund, there's a land that we have only for 20 years without extension. It's a commercial land where we actually we built the shelter for the workers for the school on the main street in Kenungu. It's a 5.6 hour land. We only got, the guy didn't want. He said, it's take it or leave it, yeah. And I'm like, okay, it's still good. It's still a very good deal. Yeah. So we still took it, yeah. So it's on a case by case, basis situation. But like generally speaking, this is what I try to do on every single occasion. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for that. I think very informative and wraps everything up and explains things quite easily. So thank you. Next podcast we're talking about tax. I think. Yeah.
We might
tax implications, today or next week. But thank you, Omri. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Gawain.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Subscribe, follow, do this, that, share, comment, like, and spread the word.
Yeah, and we're on YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes very soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.